Welcome to the EXP Group, one of the leading providers of business training solutions. Please enjoy this presentation and visit us on the web at www.theexpgroup.com for more information.
Hello and welcome back to this EXP training video on ACCA paper P3 Business Analysis. If you remember, yesterday we were looking at Ansoff's matrix. Ansoff's matrix is known as the product market mix. Now, yesterday we looked at existing product, existing market. So we discussed consolidation, penetration and withdrawal. We then looked at new products within existing markets, product development. So, for example, I gave you the illustration of car companies when they launch new models in an existing market. That is product development. We then talked about existing products in a new market development. And the example I gave yesterday was McDonald's. When they open a new McDonald's restaurant in a new country, that is the case of market development. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is diversification. So, if you look at, we're on page 29 of the Express Notes. If you go down to the bottom of page 29, you will see we have some discussion here about diversification. First of all, this is generally considered to be the most risky, but then there are a number of types of diversification. So we have backwards vertical integration and forwards vertical integration. And then on the top of page 30, we have unrelated diversification. Now, what I'm going to do, just to talk you briefly through this, is to give you a couple of examples on related diversification. So, let's imagine we've got here, within this diagram, we've got a company. The company sells its goods or services to the customer, and also this company will be provided with goods or services by its suppliers. Now, when it comes to related diversification, we can have backwards vertical integration. Now, backwards, if we look at backwards vertical integration, is where the company acquires its supplier. So the company acquires its suppliers. And I'll give you an example of what this could be in one moment. Okay, why would they do that? What's a positive of the company acquiring a supplier? Well, there are a number. It could be to ensure adequate supply of the resources into the company. It could also be to share the profit, in effect, because assuming the supplier is making a profit margin, it could generate profit. What about Synergist? So there are various advantages. What about negatives? Well, does the company have the relevant threshold competencies to be able to manage the supplier? Does it have experience within that business? Let's now look at what would happen if the company acquired its customer. Well, this is an example of forwards vertical integration. And an example of forwards vertical integration is where the company acquires the customer. Okay, again, why would the company want to do that? Well, positives would include it can sort of have a guaranteed customer. It can ensure distribution channels for its products. It can ensure placement of its products. And negatives could be similar to the other ones. Do they have the threshold competencies to be able to run that customer? Do they have the necessary skills? And so on. Okay, just to finish off today's video, let's give an example here. Let's say we have a dairy. So this is, say, a milk processing business, a milk processing business. That's the company here. And then we look at the customer and the supplier. So who would be the supplier of the dairy, of the milk processing business? It's the farm. So the farm has various cows on it, they get the raw milk and they provide the milk to the dairy, to the milk processing business. Now, if the dairy decided to acquire a farm, what example of diversification is that? That is an example of backwards vertical integration. So this is backwards. If the dairy had its customers, and the customers could be a shop. So the dairy does not sell direct to the public, it sells to a shop who then sell on to the public. But if the dairy was doing forwards vertical integration, it would acquire a shop. So that's forwards vertical integration. So these are all examples of related diversification, which if you go back to your express notes on page 29, talks about it here. So today's training video has just completed Ansoff's matrix. Ansoff's matrix, remember, is also known as a product market mix. Okay, thank you very much for listening today, and please come back tomorrow because we will be talking about various other methods of expansion. Thank you for listening.